All right, well, I am back with another Sudoku here. This one looks to be very interesting. I'm a little bit intimidated by it. This was sent in to me by Zeta Math, and uh, the reason I'm a little intimidated is it has 5 stars for difficulty on Logic Masters Germany, which always, since 5 is the most, and there's no ceiling, you never know, is it like, well, it was barely a 5, or is it, this is impossible? So, uh, it has been solved 36 times, and it's only been up there a couple weeks, which is pretty impressive. That's a lot of solves in a couple weeks for a 5-star difficulty puzzle. But it also has a 99% quality rating, so it should be really interesting. I'm excited about it. We are actually in the CTC web app today because that's the version that was provided by the setter, and so I'm just going with that. Now, it looks a little intimidating. We'll see how this goes. It's called Two Truths and a Lie by ZetaMath, as I had mentioned. And ZetaMath actually has their own YouTube channel where they solve, or not solve, where they talk about math and such. So I'll link to that as well if you're interested in math videos. Um, but today we are interested in the puzzle by ZetaMath, which may involve math. I guess we'll find out. So each of the following standard clue types occurs exactly 3 times in the grid. We have white dots. Okay, so there's a white dot here, here, and down here. There's black dots. We have 3 black dots. Sandwich. We've got the 3 sandwich clues. X's. 3 X's. There's one down here. The V's are there. Thermos. We've got 3. Where's the? Oh, right here. Here's the third thermo. Right where the selection was. Arrows. There's the 3 arrows there, and then the one down here. Quadruples, so we've got the bigger white circles with the numbers in them. Odds, gray circles are odds. Evens are gray squares like usual. Renban, the purples are Renban regions, and green are German whispers. Now that's a lot of different rules. Hopefully you're familiar with all of those. Um, if not, I guess I can quickly go through. I'll talk about some of the less familiar. Obviously, odds and evens, arrows, thermos. You probably know all those. The quadruples, if you're not familiar with that, it just says that, like this 34 here, or 3 and 4 really, says that the 3 and the 4 have to appear somewhere in those 4 surrounding cells. The 2 and the 3 have to appear somewhere in these surrounding cells. The green is German whispers, which just means adjacent digits have to differ by at least 5. So you could do 1, 7, 2, for example. Renban means that the 3 digits in these cases, they're 3 cells, but on the purple regions, those 3 cells have to be consecutive digits, but not necessarily in that order. So you could do 1, 3, 2. And then you should be hopefully familiar with the rest of those. And so they're all standard rules, just a lot of different ones. Now, the trick here is for each of those clue types, exactly 2 of the appearances of that clue are correct, and the other is incorrect. Hence the title, Two Truths and a Lie, which is a classic kind of get to know you game that people play where they tell 2 things that are true about themselves and one that's a lie, and everybody has to try and guess which one is the lie. So, for example, this green German Whispers line might be true, and this one's true, and this one is not. And I think there's some clarification on the Logic Masters post that essentially a clue is incorrect if it's not fully correct. So, this thermo, for example, if this was an incorrect thermo, you could still have 1 and well, no, you couldn't. You could have because then the next one would definitely be true. You could still have 2 and 3, which would be, that part would be correct, but then this might be a 5 or something. So as long as some part of it isn't correct, or for example, the 2, 3 here, if this was an incorrect quadruple, you could still have a 2 on here. You just couldn't have a 3 in there as well. So, and that is all the rules. So, we'll see how it goes. Link in the description as usual. Give it a try. See how it goes for you. See if you can determine the truths and the lies. This has lots of great comments. A couple people said it's one of their all-time favorite Sudoku puzzles. So I mean, it's bound to be great. So here we go. I'm gonna give it a shot. Let's start our timer and get to it. All right. So let's see. Where to start is the question. So I guess what we need to do is we probably need to find some place where we have kind of mutually exclusive truths, right? Where like this green one is true or this purple is true, something like that. And so we know one of them has to be a falsehood. Actually, I wonder if can these all three be true? Is that possible? Because let's see, the Renban is purple. Okay, so this one's Renban. If we assume all three of these are true for a minute, I'm just wondering, can you even do? Because the two German Whispers lines. So, let's see. These two are going to be the same kind of parity of high and low, right? So with German Whispers, since they have to differ by at least 5, you jump high and low. And then these two are going to be the same, but not necessarily the same as these two. In fact, they couldn't be, could they? Could these all be high, for example? This was 6, 7, 8, and 9. Yeah, I guess they could, couldn't they? These two would have to be low. But you could have like 1 and 2 there. Wherever the 6 is would have to have the 1. So you could have like 6 and 7 with a 1 and 8 and 9 with a 2, and then yeah, and then 3, 4, and 5 for consecutive. So that is possible. Okay, that's possible. All right, so let's delete that coloring. There we go. So what do we start with? Now, that's interesting. So on an X, if these are both true, that would force these to also be evens, because on an X, since they sum to 10, if you put an even, an even and an odd would not sum to an even. And since they sum to 10, they both have to be even or both have to be odd. They have to be the same. So if these are both true, these would also have to be even, which would give us all of our evens. Oh, but that's only true if the X's are also true. What about this German Whispers line with the evens? You'd have to do, because they'd have to be, the same, either high or low, it'd have to be like 6, 8, and which would then force a 1 here. Or it would have to be 2, 4, which would force a 9 there, but that's possible. I was thinking, is it gonna mess up the X, but it won't, because it forces this one to be odd, actually. So if the both evens are correct and the German Whispers is correct, this is an odd, but what about the 2 black dots? So I know from past puzzles, anytime you have a chain of 2 black Kropke dots, it has to be 1, 2, 4, 8, right? Because 3 and 6, if you did 3 and 6, you'd have like 3, 6, you'd have to do another 3, you'd repeat a digit. And in fact, this middle one has to be a 2 or a 4, because it has to do 1, 2, 4, or 2, 4, 8, or the reverse. And so those are both even. So, but we don't know. So you can't have all 3 of these clues at the top be correct. The 2 Kropke dots and the even, all 3 of those cannot be correct. But you could have the odd, because if you only have one of the 2 ratio dots, you could then have, 1 and 2. You could have, so you'd have to have 1 or 2 with 1 or 3 with 2 or 6, actually. But that's doable, and then that would force this one to be correct. Let's see, 6, 7, 8, and 9. If this arrow is, again, if the arrow is correct. If the arrow is not correct, yeah. All right. Because this would then have to be a 6 or an 8 with a 3 or a 4 if we assume the arrow and the Kropke are correct. And so, it couldn't be 6, because 6 would have to have 1, 2, and 3, and you couldn't put a 3 there. So it would have to be 8, 4, and then you could do 1, 2, and 5. Yeah. So that's possible. But up here, we could also say that the odd is wrong, And then we could do 1, 2, 4, 2, 4, 8. And then you'd have 2 or 4 here, which would still have, oh, but then if the odd is wrong, then that's going to force the, oh, but again, yeah. So I was going to say that's going to force the even to be wrong, because that's going to put a 1 or a 3 to complete the V. But again, that's assuming the V is correct. So if the V is correct and the 2 dots are correct, then the odd and the even are wrong. All right, that's too many ifs. We got to find something more solid. The arrows. The arrows. The arrows is where... Okay, yep. These arrows cannot both be true. Because these are all in the same row, so they have to be unique digits. So the minimum we can do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is 21. There's no way to make 21 with 2 single-digit numbers. The most we can do here is 17. So these cannot both be true. Therefore, this arrow is true. Okay, good. That gives us somewhere to start. Now, what do we do from there? Okay, so 6, 7, 8, or 9. If we know if that ratio dot is correct, it's 8 and 4. But what if... Can we prove that that's accurate? We'd have to use both of these. So another thing that I know is we have to have 2 of 1, 2, and 3. Because let's assume you didn't have 2 out of 1, 2. Let's say you only had 1 of them, right? 1 is the minimum, right? So if we use a 1 and not a 2 or a 3, we'd have 1, 4, 5. That's 10. So you need at least 2. You could have 1 and 2, you could have 1 and 3, you could have 2 and 3, but you have to have at least 2 of them, or all 3. So that means we can only use... Well, basically all it means is we can't do 1 and 2. And so so the only way this one can be odd is if it's a 3 with a 6 on one side or the other. Because the only other way this can be odd on it, because one of these 2 crop key dots one of these 2 ratio dots has to be correct. At least one of them. So the only way that odd can be correct is if it's a 3 with a 6. And then you would have 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 5 with 7 or 8. What about... Oh no, maybe we need to look at the odds down here. So let's assume this odd is not correct for a minute, right? That would force these 2 to both be correct. They would have to be 1 and 3. Well, again, we're assuming the V's are correct though, aren't we? These would have to be 2 and 4. You can't, yeah, you can't, those are the purples? Yeah, the purples are Renban. Okay, yeah, you can't, I'm not sure which part of it is wrong, but you can't do 3 and 2 with the V, because the 2 is going to force you to use a 3 on the Renban. Because if you don't have 3, you'd have 1, 2, and what? So But is it the Renban that's wrong? Is it the V? Is it the circle? Well, it doesn't matter. The circle isn't the issue. It's the V with the Renban. Because 2 and 3 you just can't do, right? No, you can. You can, because you can do 2 with 3 and then like 4, 5. So so what do we do? Let's see. Okay, so this has to be, I'd like to know if that ratio dot is correct. Okay, if it's not correct, let's say that ratio dot is wrong. This one would have to be accurate. So you would have to have, this would have to be 2 or 4. 1, 2, 4, 8. This would then have to be, the problem is we just don't know, like the V, is the V correct? So we know the odd is incorrect in this situation, right? Which forces both of these to be correct. But the V could still be right here. I've got some things that I know, I know that the odd and the two crop keys can't coexist. I know that this doesn't work down here, but the question is which part of it is correct and which part of it is not. Red band. So those are both correct. Now we know the odd is wrong, so these have to be odd. The only way the V's would be correct is if these are 2 and 4, which they couldn't be. Unless one of the Renbans was wrong. Yeah, okay. Okay, so what about this 3 sandwich clue? Does that do anything for us? So all I know so far is that this arrow is is one of the truths. Can both of these be true? I guess that's the question, right? Because we know that these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 somehow. Can these both be true? I feel like they can. Not if the V's are accurate. But if one of the V's is wrong, then you should be able to. So does this work? We know we can't do 1 and 2. So these, right, because we have to have a 1, 2 of the 1, 2, and 3. So we can't have 1 and 2. So it would have to be 2, 4, 8. This would have to be 4. So it would have to be 2 and 8. You would have 1, 3, and 5. I guess on your whichever side the arrow is accurate, right? Which would give you a 9. Oh, no, that doesn't work. Okay, yeah. No, it's not the arrow that's the problem. Right, we can't. Okay, because of the arrow, you can't put 1 and 2 on one of your crop key dots, right? On one of your ratio dots here, because then you'd have 3, 4, and 5 for your minimum for your arrow. So if both dots are correct, it would have to be 2, 4, 8 in some order. But now you've used 3 even numbers, and 2 of these 3 have to be true. So you can't do that. So we know that this crop key dot down here is correct, which means it's 8 and 4. Oh, we can delete that. Delete that again. Oh, come on. There we go. Which means that is 8 and 4, because it has to be 6 or 8 because of the ratio dot. 6 and 3 wouldn't work because you need to have 1, 2, and 3 on the arrow for a 6. So 8. So these are 1, 2, and 5. Okay, cool. Now, if this difference dot is correct, that's going to have to be a 5, but we don't know yet. But we do know that only one of these dots is correct. We've already used 8 and 4, so this has to be 1, 2, or 3. But we already know we can't do 1 and 2, right? So it's got to be a 2 with a 4 or 3 with a 6. 2, 4 would leave 1, 3, and 5 for 9. 3 and 6 would then be 1, 2, 4 with a 7 or 1, 2, 5 with an 8. And again, it could be either arrow. I'm just sort of picking one to think about it as. If the V is correct, this will have to be 2, 3 also. Okay, but we don't know that yet. We know that has to be a 2 or a 3. With a 4 or a 6 on the other side. Okay. Now let's look back at these Renbands down here, what we were looking at before, because now we've got some of the digits in here. So I'm wondering if... So we can't use a 4. So you could do 1... Right, and we know one of these V's has to be accurate, right? And on a V, you have to have... At least one of these V's has to be accurate. It could be both of them, but I don't think it can be, because on a V, you have to have 1, 2, 3, or 4. So let's just assume this V over here is accurate, right? These would have to be 1, 2, 3, or 4. Well, this one can't be 4. That can't be 1. So now you have 1, 2, or 3, and you can't go above 4 if you're doing consecutive. So assuming the Renband's true, you would also have to have 1, 2, and 3. Whichever side had an accurate V, you'd have to have 1, 2, and 3. The other one would have to have a 7. It could do 7, 8, 9. It could do 5, 6, 7. No, but you can't do 1, 2, and 3. Because, right, no, forget that. You can't even do 1, 2, and 3. Okay, we know one of the two V's has to be correct, at least. If it's a V, it's going to force 1, 2, and 3 up here. With 1, 2, and 3. But now, what do you put in here? You've already used 1 and 2, so you have to have 5s in both of those. So one of these two Renbands, one of these two sides, the V has to be correct. And whichever side that is, it's going to break the Renband. So one of the two Renbands in row 8 cannot be correct. Therefore, this one is correct. Because wherever the V is, whichever of these V's is accurate, the Renband cannot be accurate, which then tells us that the other V can't be correct. Because, again, we can't do a V and a Renband down here. So on one of them, the V is correct, and on one of them, the Renband is correct. So this V is correct. This is a 2 or a 3. This is not 2. So now what can we put in this Renband? So we can't use 1, 2, 3. We can't use 1 because of 2 and 3. We can't use 2, 3, or 4. We can't go 8, which means we can't do 9. So this has to be 5, 6, 7. Which gives us a 1 there. These are not 1s. And now we've got 2, 4, and 5. So whichever side, whichever V is correct, it's got to be a 1. I'm just going to do over here. A 1 or a 3 with a 2 or a 4. Which then means that the odd is wrong. Whichever one has the correct V, The odd is going to be wrong, so this odd has to be correct. So it has to be 3 and 2 like that, and now we know there's a 6 on one of those. One of these is a 1, 2, 4 or a 1, 2, 5, leaving a 7 or an 8 in one of those circles. Okay. Now this 1, 3, 2, 4 isn't necessarily there. It could be over here. But let's just leave it there for right now to think about things. Now that leaves us with, actually, we have a 9 right there. We can do that. Okay. We'll come back to that. Now that I'm getting things, I'm all excited now. I want to do too much. I got to focus. Okay. So we've now used 2, 4, 5, and 1 or 3. But either way, the Renban, so the one that's the V is accurate, the other side, the Renban is accurate. And so we got to be 6, 7, 8 or 7, 8, 9. So it'll have to have a 7 and an 8, which is obviously going to make the V incorrect. But the circle will still have to be correct. So it can't be a 7. But that 7, 8, and 9, or 6, 7, 8, we then have, this is 1, 3, and 6 or 9. Whichever one's over here, the other one is over here. So the only way the 3 can work is if you have 1, 3, 9, which I think would be possible, right? If you did 6, 7, 8, and then... Yeah, so that's possible. So that 3 could still be possible. That's kind of what I was wondering. All right, let's delete things that we don't know for sure yet. Now, we've got the 5, 6, 7 here. Maybe we can figure out whether these German whispers are both possible now that we know the 5, 6, 7 in the middle. So you've already used 2 of the big digits, right? The 6 and the 7. So you only have 8 and 9 left. So they would have to be the middles. And then you'd have to have 1, 2, 3, and 4. That seems possible. 4 would have to go with the 9, but I think that would work. It'd be nice to know for up here if this German whisper was accurate or not. Because with a 9 there, we've got quite a... Well, it'd have to be 1 and 4. Because we've already used 2 and 3. If this German whispers is accurate, it'd have to be 1 and 4. Which one of the evens would then be correct, which is good, because we've already used one of the evens. Oh, no. Yeah, okay. Cool. Right. So this is not possible. These German whispers down here. Because it forces 8... Oh. Yes. No, it works. It works. The 8 and 9 are forced into these middle cells right here. And now, how are you going to do these difference dots? And I know one of them is... Actually, we already know they're both accurate because this one is not accurate down here. I didn't even notice. When we got the 1, that means this difference dot is wrong. So these are both accurate, but it doesn't really matter. We know one of them is accurate, and that would force... oh, no, it doesn't. Yeah, it does. Okay. Right. It only works because both of them have to be true. But this one's wrong. These both have to be true. So whichever one of these is the 9, it's going to have an 8 next to it because of the difference. And then you're going to have too many. The 8 can have a 7, but the 9 will have to have an 8. So both of these German whispers cannot be accurate. Which means this one is accurate. These are a 1 and a 4. And now one of the x's has to be wrong because whichever one is the 1 is going to have a 9. So one of these is a 6, and that tells us this x down here is correct. These are 5, 6, 7, and 8. Does that help us at all? Don't know that it does. I'm going to delete those for now. I don't want to put extra clutter in the grid if it's not going to be helpful. So one of these German whispers is accurate. Now, whichever one it... no, it doesn't have to have 8 or 9 in the middle, does it? Because now that we know one of them is correct and one of them isn't, we could do 8 and 9 out here with like a 3 or something in the middle. So we can't say for sure that there's an 8 or a 9. Those middle cells with the difference dots. So what can we say now? We've got a lot. It's very symmetrical, and so I'm having a hard time with knowing which one is the true one and which one is the fake one on these sides. What about down here? We need 3, 6, 7, and 9. Is that going to be helpful? Not really. Now I'm noticing this quadruple here. If it's true, you're going to have 5 and 4 right there. But I think that's possible. This X down here. Can't be 1, 9. Actually, let's look at our options along here again, because what I'm wondering is, okay, this is either right 1, 3 with 2, 4, 3, 2 or 1, 4, and then this one is gonna have to be 6, 7, 8 or 7, 8, 9. So it's got to have a 7 and an 8. And this is going to have 1, 3 with a 6 or a 9. So, and I know we don't know which side is which, but the point is you're going to have a 3 or a 7 on this line. Because it's either 1, 3, 6, 1, 3, 9. Either you have a 1 and a 3, or you have a 7 and an 8. So we can't do 3, 7 in here. We can't do 1, 9. It's got to be 2, 8 or 4, 6. Is there a way to eliminate one of those? I don't know that we can, because this was 2, 8. You could just make this 1, 3, 6 with a 2 there. No, 1, 3, 6 with a 4 there, and you could do 2, 8. This is. If this is 2, 8, then the Renban has to be on this side. If it's 4, 6, then it could go either way, I think. But this is 2, 8 or 4, 6. Okay, so now what can we do? 1, 4, 9, there's a 6. Whichever side has the. For the 3 to be accurate sandwich clue, you have to have 1, 3, 9 on the Renban, which leaves 6, 7, and 8, which couldn't be on this side. 6, 7. If this is 6, 7, and 8, this is 1, 3, 9, or in some order, this would be 2. This would have to be 4, 6. That seems possible. Okay. So, where do we look next? Man, I thought I was on a roll when I got this stuff in the middle here figured out. Okay, so let's go back to the German Whisper here. One of these has to be correct and one is wrong. So, if we put 8 and 9 on the outsides. Hmm. Evens the x's. So we figured out that we know these dots are accurate. So we know these dots, one of these two is correct and one is wrong. We don't really know anything about the thermos yet, but I feel like they're only 3-cell thermos. What could we possibly know about them so far? We know that one of these arrows is 7 or 8 with a 1, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 5. These are... Oh, so where... One of these arrows... Whichever side has the arrow, let's just assume it's over here, right? This is 1, 2, 4, 5 with a 7 or an 8. That 7 or 8... Oh, we can put a 7 and 8 in here, can't we? But the 9 is going to have to be on the other... the other side. And then you're going to have a 9. One of those. You're going to have a 2 down here. 1 over here. And of course, all of that could be flip-flopped. Box 1 and box 3 here. Okay, so, all right, so here's the thing. Right, got it. I think the 13 clue is going to break. That's what I think is going to happen. Because we're going to have the 1 on one side and the 9 on the other side. They could be flip-flopped. We don't know. But they're definitely on opposite sides, the 1 and the 9 here. Because the 1 has to go on the arrow and the 9 can't go on the arrow. So, and the 1 and the 9 can't be in here because we've already got them down here. So for the 13 to be correct, we need to have, this is 3. The other 2 are going to have to add up to 10. Well, one of them is a 6. The other would have to be a 4, and it can't be a 4. So the 13 cannot be correct. Yes, the 13 is not correct. The 3 is correct, which means we have to have 1, 3, 9, 2, 4, 5. This is going to be 6, 7, 8. One side or the other is 6, 7, 8. If this side is 6, 7, or 8, it breaks this. You can't do 2, 8, or 4, 6. So this is 1, 9 with a 3 and a 1, 9. And this side is 6, 7, 8. And now we still don't know if this is 2, 4. Oh, but this one has to be the correct V. So this is a 2, which means these are a 4 and a 6. That leaves us 5, 7, and 8. And these two cannot be 8, so the 8 is there. Very nice. This is not 5 or 7, so it's 1, 3, or 9, because the 5 or 7 here. In here we have 3, 6, 7, and 9. The 6 can't be at the top. The 7 can't be at the bottom. Okay, now what do we do? Okay, so we know that, so the 24 clue has to be true, right? And this is a 1 or a 9. So how far can we go before we get to our next 1 or 9? Can it be all the way up here is the question. I guess another way to look at it is 24 in the sandwich means you need 11 on the outside, and we have a 5 or 7 here. So this would have to be 4 or 6, or I guess you could do like 2, 4. There's a few things you could do there, isn't there? Oop. So you could have, but the point is you can't put the, right, so this is 5 or 7. You need to have at least one more cell, maybe 2. So this can't be a 9. Could this be a 1? It could be if this was a 4 or a 6. And this can't be a 6. Could we have the 6 here? So this could be 7 and 4. The 1 there. But we don't even know that this is the 1 and the 9 this way. It could be 1 and 9 this way. But it's a 1 or a 9 in one of those, potentially. I mean, the 1 and the 9 are in rows 1 and 2 in the box, no matter what. So, yeah, but we don't really know because that's... Okay. Don't know that that's going to help us much yet. We know we can't have a 1 or a 9 in any of these for sure. 1 or the 9 has to be right here. Oh, this one can't be a 1 and a 9. The 1, 4, 9 right there. So, I think it has to be right here, doesn't it? Because you can't come all the way down here because you need 11 on the outsides. 5. Yeah, you can't. Because you can't use 1, 2, and 3 because the 1 has to be the sandwich. So it can't be this low, basically. It can't be right here because you've already used 1 and 9. It can't be all the way at the top because you got to be able to get 11 on the outside. This has to be a 1 or a 9. Regardless of how box 1 and 3 flip-flops, this has to be a 1 or a 9. Now, if it's a 9, that thermo is broken. So now the question becomes, which side is the arrow on? Because that'll determine, well, maybe. I mean, that would tell us if this was a 1 or a 9. But that has to be a 1 or a 9. Unfortunately, we don't know. Which side is the arrow yet? Now, if this side is the arrow, it has to be a 7. We've got the 8 there. It's 1, 2, 4 or 1, 2, 5. Is there a problem if this is 7 with 1, 2, 4? It's not a 2. This would be a 9, which would break the thermo, but these would be 3, 5, 6, 8. That's not the 3. 1 and 4. That would put a 1 and a 4 over here. A 9 up here. This would have to be a 4 to go with the... Actually, no, forget that. We can do... Right, so this is, because of the 1 and the 9, this could still be 1 or 9. The 11 on the outside has to be 5 with 6 or 7 with 4. And this can't be a 6 because of the 6 there. Yep, this is a 4. This is a 7. This is a 5. And that 4 gives us 6 and 4. There we go. These are 2, 3, 5, and 8. Ah, now that's interesting. If the 2, 3 quadruple is correct, these have to be 2 and 3 here. And if the 2, 3 is not correct, then this has to be a 4 and a 5. Can this be 4? It can, because only one of these two German whispers is correct. even so, I think it could still be 4, 9, and then 1, 2, or 3. So it could still be a 4 either way. But this would have to be 2, 3 if that's correct, which would then put a 2, 3 up here. That 4 still doesn't help us with the arrow, though, does it? Because it could still be 1 and 2 here with the 7. Or this could still be 1, 2, 5 with an 8. I think those are still both possible. And this thermo could still be true if this is a 1. So, let's see, what do we do? Where do we go now? We know this is true, this is true, this one's not. One of these is not, 2 of them are. This one is accurate. This X is accurate. Okay, so we know both of these white dots are accurate. The thermos and the quadruples are the only ones we haven't identified the lie yet. Unfortunately, these are all still looking possible. 3 and I mean, there's no limits on this one over here yet that I can see. So 6. We know there's a 6 down here. 7, 8, 8. The 24 is true. The 3 is true. The 13 is false. So we might as well not even be there anymore. It's just a distraction now. One, 2, 4. So it'd have to be 1, 2, 7. 1, 2, 7. Seems like it would work. Or this could be, this would have to be 1, 2. Either this is a 7 or this is an 8. One of the two. I'm wondering, can both of these be true? For this one to be true, this has to be a 1. Right? Which then means this is 8 with 1, 2, 5. Because if the 1 is here, you can't put a 1 up there. Which means there's a 9 up there. 5, 8. There has to be a 2 down here then. One of these two. And then 8, 9. Yeah, I mean, it seems like, because you could put a 2 down here, which would allow you to make this thermo true, and this one could be, I mean, this could be 3 with a 5 and 7, or, I mean, there's lots of options there still, it seems like. Okay, so what else can we do? 2, 7. Part of the problem is everything's so symmetrical left to right. I mean, it's not with this thermo here, and the quadruples are different, but I mean, a lot of this is symmetrical, and so I don't know which side to put the 6 on and all that. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 3, 7, and 9. 5, 7, 1, 3, 9. So we know there's a 5 up here. And a 2. There's 2 and a 5 up there. There's a 4 down here. Yeah, I don't know what that tells us though. This is still 1 or 9. So whichever one isn't here is up here. The 1 or the 9. And then the other one Okay. So, what do we do next? What do we do next? 1, 2, 5, 8. Is that a problem? That puts a 1 on the thermo down here. Puts a 9 up there, 9 down here. But we can't say for sure it would be on the thermo. If we could say the 9 was going to be on this thermo, that would break that thermo, and then we'd be in business. But I don't know that we can say that. 1, 2, 5, 8. It would have to be a 9 here. If that's the 9, 1, 2, 5, 8, 9. You'd have to have 1, 2, 5, 8, 3, 4, 6, and 7. 4, 6, 4, 6, 7, 3. Would that work? No. No. Okay. Yes. All right. Let's assume I'm gonna write this out. Let's assume this is the one with the arrow. You have 1, 2, 5, 8. If you try and put the 9 not on the thermo, right, to not break the thermo, the 6 has to be down here. Well, either the 6 is here and you've got 3, 4, and 7 down here, which is gonna break the thermo. Or the 6 is down here and you've got 3, 4, and 7, but the 4 has to be up here, and now you've got 3 somewhere on the thermo. So no matter what you do, if this is the arrow, this thermo breaks. And let me go back. And if this is the arrow, this thermo breaks because this becomes a 9 because the 1 is up here. So essentially, one of these two thermos is going to be broken. It's going to be a lie. This thermo has to be true. Now, what does that do for us? That I'm not sure. We know this is true, though. So if this is 2, 3. So whichever side the arrow is accurate, the thermo is broken. So the thermo on the opposite side has to be accurate. Okay, so this thermo is true. I mean, it's got a lot of options right now, right? So 3, 4, 6, 7, 9. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. That's essentially your options in there. You can't use 2 and 3, actually, so this can't be 3. But yeah, I don't know. This is 1 or 9. Let's not forget that. That doesn't seem very helpful, does it? So if this 2, 3 is true, I don't know what we can say about that actually. If this quad is true, it's 4 and 5. But so what? Oh, we know there's a 4 on this actually. On this thermo, there has to be a 4. So, what does that tell us? What does that tell us about anything? I don't know. I don't know what that tells us. There's also a 4 over here. Boom. Um, this is 9. If these are 9s, there's a 9 in the middle. These are 1s, and there's 1 in the middle. This is 5, 6, 7, or 8, I guess. Oh, it can't be a 6. It's 5, 7, or 8. Because it sees 1, 4, 9, 2, 3, 4. Can't be a 6 because one of these is a 6. It's a 5, 7, or an 8. I feel like we got a lot of these truths and lies figured out. We should be able to make some more progress, but if this is high, if this is the German whispers line and this is high in the middle, 8 or 9 would have to be 8, 7, and then this would have to be 9, 4, 9, 7, 4. That would work. Okay. So I'm not sure. I'm kind of stuck here. Okay. I want to know which side is the accurate arrow. That's what I'm having a hard time with. 1, 2, 7. Is there a reason that doesn't work? This would have to be the 1 and the 2 and the 7. This would have to be 9. This would not be 7. This would not be 2. This would be 3, 5, 6, and 8. This couldn't be 3. Hmm. Seems like that would work. Okay, and if we do it over here, it's going to be 1, 2, 5 with an 8. which is going to mean there's a 9 on there, and this is 4 and 9, and then you have 3, 6, and 7. And this is going to be the broken thermo, so it doesn't really matter what order you do those in. This would have to be the 6, of course. So then you'd have 2, 5, and 8. This would be 2. You'd have 5 and 8. This would have to be the correct thermo, so you'd have to do it like that. There's no reason that doesn't work. Not an obvious one anyways. Do you know there's a 3 in one of those? Don't know what that does for me. If this is accurate, that's a 2, 3. The 2, 3 have to go over here. But we don't know that this is true, because this could still be 4 and 5 over here. I'm approaching an hour already. Okay. We know this one is true. We know these two difference dots are true. We know one of these German whispers lines is true. This can be 4. If it's like that, it couldn't be 1, because this would be 1 up here. But that seems possible. But this could also be 4 if this is the whispers line over here. And since we know only one of the two German whispers lines is true, we could put 8 and 9 on the outside with like a 2 or something in between. So we don't even know that. We don't even know that the middle one has to be high or low. It could go either way. So what do we know? Okay, let's no, that's something. Now I wrote these in before and I deleted them because I didn't want to clutter the grid, but actually these have to be 5, 7, and 8. Now, we also know that one of these two is a 7 or an 8. So whichever, if this is a 7 or if this is an 8, we're going to have a 5, 7, 8 triple, which means the 5 has to be in here. So this one can't be 5. So these are then 1, 3, 4, 6, or 9. This one can't be 3 or 4. My dog came to say hello. Give me some moral support. 6, 9. So if this is 1, 2 with a 7, this is going to be 9 and 6. One, 2, 7, 9, 6. You'd have 3, 5, and 8. 5, 8. This one would have to be 3, 5, and 8. You'd have 2, 6, and 7 over here. It'd have to be 1, 2, 7, 6. Hmm. Okay, and if this is 1, 2, 5, and 8, you're going to have 5, 7, 8, 7. This would be 6, 8. You'd have a 7 up here. Man. Okay, if this is 1, 2, 5, I'm just going to write this in. I don't always like doing that, but I'm having a hard time seeing it. 6, 8. This is going to be 3 and 9. This would have to be 1. This would have to be 6. Ah, no, hold on. No, I think maybe. Okay, I think I see. Okay, if this is 1, 2, if this is 1, 2, 4 with a 7, you're gonna have 1 and 2 here, which makes this 9 and 6, right? Yes. Okay, that's the thing. This one is the key right here. So if this is the correct arrow, the 1 is up here, which gives you 9. 1, 9. If this is the correct arrow, then this has to be the correct thermo, which means this has to be a 1, and the 9 has to go up here. So this can't be a 1 or a 9. This is a 6, no matter what. Which means that's not a 6. This is the 6. This is the 4. This is the 1. And now we know there's a 4 over here and a 1 over here. I was going to say the 4 can't be there because of the German Whispers, but this one could be the German Whispers line. So, okay, but that gives us 6, 4, and 1. So now 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, right? 2, 3, 5, 7, 8. This can't be 6. This is a 7 or an 8. So there's a 1 or a 9 up there with a 1 or a 9 down here. This is 1, 2, 5. If this is 1, 2, 5, and 8. 3, 4. This would have to be 4, 9 with 3, 7. Okay. Otherwise, this could be 1, 1 and 2 with a 7 and a 9. These would be 3, 5, 8. This would be 2. This would be 2, 7 in that situation. 1, 2, 5, 8, 4, 9. This would be. This is either 3 and 7 or 2 and 7, I think. Right. Because if this is the arrow, this is an 8, and you can't have 7 on the arrow then. And so this would become 7. Otherwise, this is. Yeah. So you can't have. And if this is 1, 2, 4, 7, now you've got 7 up here and down here. So this is a 7 either way. It's either 2, 7 or 3, 7. This can't be 7. 2, 7 or 3, 7. So whether this is either a 2 or a 3. If it's a 2, then you put a 2 up there. If it's a 3, then you put a 3 right here. If this is 3, 7, that's because it's 1, 2, 5, 8. This would be 3. 4, 9, 1. Yep, so this is either 3 or 8, or 3 or 7, sorry. 3 or 7. This is either 8 or 4, 7, 5, 8, 6, 9. This would be 7, 5, 8, 6, 9, 2. You'd have 1. 1, 3, and 4, right? Yeah, because you have a 4 over here no matter what. These would be 1, 3, and 4. This puzzle's hurting my brain. There's probably a better way to think about this, and I'm missing it, but I'm just not seeing it. Okay, we definitely have a 6 on this thermo. 6. There's 4 and a 6 on here. And we know this thermo is accurate. Right. So the 6 can't be at the bottom, and the 4 can't be at the top. And this can't be a 6, because you'd have to have a 5 or a 7 on the white dot, on the other side of the white dot, and we can't have a 5 or a 7. So this can't be 6. So this is a 6. Okay. Now, 6, 4. Oh, and you can't have a 5. So the 4 can't be down here because you have to have a 5 in between the 6 and the 4, and you can't have a 5. So this has to be the 4. Which means this has to be 1, 2, or 3. And if this quad is to be true, this would have to be a 1. Okay, but this 4 means that can't be a 4. This has to be a 3 or a 5 because we know that both the white dots in this row are true. Can't be a 5. It has to be a 3. So this one can't be a 3. Now this is 3. So for this to be the German Whispers line, we'd have to have the 8 and the 9 here, which I think is still possible. We definitely have a 3 over here now. No, these can't be 8 and 9 because we know there has to be a 4 on here. So this can't be the German Whispers. This has to be the German Whispers line over here. Now, this could be a 1 with a 2, couldn't it? I think so. So this is a 3 and a 4, and then we don't know after that, I guess. 6 is 6 is this is 6 over. This one can't be 6. The 6 down here somewhere. Okay, so this would have to be 3 and 2. 5 and 8. That would. I think that still is okay. 2, 3. So 2, 3, 5, 7, 8. That's, yeah. These are 2, 3, or 7 because we already got the 5 and 8. Oh, so we have a 2, 3, 7 triple. So these two are 5 and 8. And now we know that there's 2 and 3 in here because it can't be up there. So this has to be a 1. This is not a 1. And that, oh, we still don't know for sure if they're on the quad here. Oh, no, we do know. Right, the 4 has to be in here, so it can't be there. This quad has to be false. This one has to be true. 2 and 3. Those are 5 and 8. This is 5, 7, 8, and 9. 5, 7, 8, and 9, which means this is a 1, which then means this is 2 and 7 and 9 and 3. There we go. That's what we needed. That's what we needed. These, like that. This is 3, 4, 5, 8, and 9. This is not an 8. This is 1, 3, and 4. There we go. Okay, now we know both the quads, these quads, are correct. So, oh, and again, 3, 4. That means these have to be 3 and 4. Ooh, up here. So this is not a 4. The 4 is down here. 4, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So these are 1, 2, 8, and 9. All of these. This is 2, 8, or 9. So it's either 1 and 2 on the outside with an 8 or a 9 in the middle, or it's 8 and 9 on the outside. Oh, and this one can't be a 1. So, or it can't be a 2, sorry. So this would have to be a 1. The 8 and 9 were on the outside for the German Whisper. I think that's still possible, though. This one can't be a 6. 4, 4, 4. Yeah, 3, 3, 3. Yep, okay. Now this, oh, this can't be a 1 because you'd have to have a 2 on the white dot. That's beautiful. So now we know this one's high. This one has to be low, so it has to be 1 and 2. This is going to have to be an 8 or a 9. And because this is an 8 or a 9, it's going to have to be 7, 8, or 9 for the other side of the white dot. And, oh, we've almost got a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Not quite, though. We've almost got a quadruple there. This could be 9, 8, 8, 9, 8, 7. So there's definitely a 1 over here. Oh, and the 1 there. Yeah. It gives us the order of the 1 and the 2. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 5, 8. Oh, now that 2 gives us the 2 and the 5, and that 5 is going to give us the 5 and the 8, which is going to give us the 8 and the 9. And now this is a 9. It has to be with an 8. These are not 8 or 9. Let's see. Can we continue? 5, 5, 8, 8, 8. These are 6, 7, and 9. This one can't be a 6, and this one can't be a 7. These are 3, 6, and 7. This one, again, can't be a 6 or a 7. Here, let's get rid of some of the extra marks that we don't need anymore. This one can't be an 8. The 8 gives us the 7 down there, making that a 6, 8 pair. 6, 9, 7, 9, 2, 5, 7. Okay. We know this thermo has to be accurate, so this has to be 2 and 7, which has to put a 1 there. Very nice. This is no longer a 1, so we have a 1 there. This is not a 2. 1, 1. Just by normal Sudoku, we can put a 1 there. 3, 6, 9 triple across here gives us the 4. These are 2, 5, 3, 9. This one can't be a 2. 4 here gives us the 3 and the 4, which gives us the, 3 and 4 up there. This is not a 3. This is not a 3. So this has to, and this is not a 3. This 3 here means this is a 9. That's not a 9. This is a 5, 2, 3, 7, 9, 6, 3. Now we are cooking. This is not 9. 5, 8, 9, 6, 7. The 7 at the bottom gives us the 6 and 7 there. Let's see. We can do the 9 and the 1 from this one and that 9. This 5, 7, 8, 9, 5, 8. The 8 there gives us 5, 8, 5. Can't type. Fat fingers. So these are 8 and 9. The 8 there gives us the order of those. The 5 gives us that 7. These are 5 and 6. This is a 6 and a 5 to complete the row. And the 5 down there gives us the order. That gives us the 6 there. And now we just have to fill in the rest. So this has to be a 2 to finish the row. These are 5, 7, and 9. These two are not 7, so that's 7. This one's not a 9. The 6 there gives us the 8 and the 6, and that 8 is going to give us 9, 5, and 8. Looks good to me. Timer stopped. 74 minutes. I don't think that's too bad on a liar puzzle. Oh man, that was really interesting. I got a little stuck in the middle there, but I had a bunch of deductions right at the beginning that I thought, moving along, this is great, and then just kind of ground to a halt. And then once I got going again, then it was good. Yeah, I don't. That was tough. So some of those deductions about, it was interesting how sometimes you could say, well, this one has to be a liar because both of these others are true. And sometimes you say, well, one of these has to be a lie, so the other ones has to be true. And That was neat. Those puzzles are always kind of tricky. They can kind of mess with your head because you want to say, well, this can't be odd because of the V, but maybe the V isn't true, or maybe the other thing isn't true, and um, yeah, cool puzzle. All right, thank you to Zeta Math for making that puzzle and sending it in. Go check out their math channel, and if you're into that kind of thing. And I'm gonna let my brain rest now, and I'll see you guys again soon with another puzzle. Thanks. Bye.